Welcome to the top 10 worst movies of 2022. I gotta add a caveat. For me, I gotta play worst games. But worst movies, I don't actively go out and see them.
I was gonna say I would have my list 100, but I have like
Joe,
Snow Monster and
Joe
Swamp
with all the
Man
films he
versus...
watches.
How many headed shark?
These fucking
six-headed
low rent Z movies.
Those are not
going to
be on the list.
Those are not going to be on the list. So really, it's more like worst / boring / disappointing movies of 2022 in many ways. So that's what we're going to do. I had written down 11, but I never saw the 11, so I'm not going to put it on the list. But I heard very bad things. It was like one of the top worst ones on everybody else's list. So I'm curious, and I do want to see it. I'll give it a shout out. It's Firestarter.
Oh, I heard bad.
So
things
I heard bad things, but this is Zac Efron in his I didn't even recognize him in the trailer. It's Zac Efron is a father, and he's got this young girl who is the Firestarter, right? I just hear really bad acting from everybody all around. Really boring, just disappointing. But I do kind of want to see it. I'm curious, but I don't want you to waste your money. If you already wasted your money, tell me how bad it is. All right, so get into the list now.
Number 10.
Number 10 is Disney's Pinocchio. So this was on Disney Plus, and initially I had it written down for us to review it, just never got around to it.
Oh no, we didn't remember to remind him.
No.
It was a year of Pinocchio though, because
It was a year of Pinocchio because actually, and I kind of forgot that Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, so that probably would have went above Glass Onion and Terrifier 2 at 11 and 12, or rather 12 and 13. So that probably would have got up in the top 15, because that one is actually a good one. So I recommend watch Guillermo del Toro's and rent it. You know, it's that good. Disney, unless you got Disney Plus already and you got a fucking 2 hours to waste, don't watch Disney's Pinocchio because it is so boring, so flat. It takes a few detours, and it's Tom Hanks. Motherfucking Tom Hanks is Geppetto. Right, and so you would think that it would be good, and he's going to pick his scripts right. He does his best, but honestly, he's not that good in it either. So it is just a sad, disappointing waste of time.
All of their live-action movies have been, I think almost all of them have been a giant waste of fucking time. Every single one of them.
And I think they saw this one and they're like, we're just gonna throw this on Disney Plus. I don't even think we can get this to make any money in theaters. Because if this came out in theaters, you'd be hearing it as a big bomb. So I think they saved themselves a little bit of an embarrassment there. All right, number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Everything other than the bus scene was just eye-rolling, not worth it. One of those remakes that gets it wrong. Cheap sets, crappy acting, not really spending any money and going all in. Just a stupid story where, I don't know, just the emphases are in the wrong areas, and it just didn't work. Except for when, of course, Leatherface gets to fucking kill, all these annoying people. Basically, just think Instagram and fucking, that crowd and just annoying assholes. And I was just so glad when Leatherface killed them all. And that's when you want that to happen in your horror movies. You're like, I can't wait for these people to die. But this was too much and too far, and it didn't have enough payoff. Yep. So, number 8.
Number 8.
What's worse than, kind of cheap sets and kind of a story that's not really working is a pretentious version of that. A long, boring, gross, This is what I think of when I think Alex and Joe look at me when I'm watching A24 films.
I love A24.
And they're like, oh, it better not be one of these.
Yeah.
And this film was one of those. It is Crimes of the Future.
Oh yeah. Just if you didn't see this movie, one thing we talked about in the review is whatever the lead actress's name is tonguing the open intestinal wall of Viggo Mortensen in a scene, and I was bored out of my fucking mind. Like, how can you be bored in a movie where that happens? And I was just bored to tears. There is not enough beers to enjoy that movie.
The dialogue is so dull, boring, and I thought when I saw the trailer, I was like, "This is gonna be outrageous. This is gonna be gross. It's gonna be tongue. I love that. I don't give a fuck. Let's fucking do it." And I was like, you know, it was bad. There was a few good, interesting ideas. It's about, like, I don't know, they got this machine that motherfucking helps people digest, and humans are evolving their organs, and there's some fucking subplot about eating fucking plastics and shit. I don't know. So there is some commentary and some social. It never comes to the front to where it's like in your face and fucking loud and political or anything like that. It couldn't even do that because it was so fucking boring, and I don't know. Esoteric, just not fun, not a fun watch like I thought it was. And people actually walked out of the theater that I was in. So
it's gross, and dumb.
It was gross and dumb. So, and what's crazy is critics love it, and there's still people who you don't understand. It's like you know. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You take it.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Uncharted.
Boo.
Boo. So we're gonna put Uncharted alongside Halo, though it didn't fuck up. It didn't fuck up quite as much as Halo. Kind of. With the casting, this is an example of the worst casting that you can come up with. This is Hollywood eyes. You don't have any confidence in your fucking license that you bought the rights to or whatever. You're like, who is the most popular right now? Who sells tickets? It's Spider-Man. He made a lot of money, right? Billions of dollars. Let's throw him in here. Only he's not Nathan Drake. This doesn't seem like a Nathan. They try to go for this younger thing. They even throw in Marky Mark. Mark Wahlberg, and he doesn't work. And no goddamn mustache, no goddamn nothing, no rapport, no chemistry. Right there towards the end, the very, very end, you start to see a little chemistry. Maybe they're having fun, or they're like, yes, the last day on set, we get to go home. There's a small chemistry there, and I'm like, okay, maybe in a sequel you could get this right, but in this one it was just kind of all the boring moments in between the cool moments of the video game. Yes, they had the airplane scene where he's just hanging on boxes and flying. Not enough for my ticket. There was another. There were pirate ships that were hanging, and they were fighting on hanging pirate ships from helicopters. Still not enough. I kind of felt like it was a video game curse. You know, it kind of continued the video game curse. Wasn't adapted too well. So, do you have a 7 or you have 5? Okay, moving on to number 6.
Number 6.
Halloween Ends. So I know, a lot of people actually like this. In fact, Red Letter Media love this, right?
Because they're doing something different, but yeah.
Yeah, and as I was going through it, no, don't do it, because I kind of agreed with that. I liked the fact.
I'll do this to anyone.
You'll do this to anyone?
I don't give a shit. You want to be up your own ass about something? You're up your own ass about it. That's fine.
No, you can't be up your own ass about somebody. If somebody likes a film,
that's fine.
If they can back it up with reasons, and they backed it up with reasons, and those reasons are the reasons that I liked it. I felt like it was creative. It's like, okay, but it's not the story that I wanted to see. And if it's the very last one until they rebooted 10 years later, it was kind of a disappointment with regards to Michael Myers. The whole thing is Michael Myers.
Exactly.
And they decided to sideline him in order to create a new Michael Myers. This, I don't even remember the fucking kid's name. Do you?
No.
Is so he gets the evil of Michael Myers on him, and he's turning into Michael Myers. They did that in one of the other fucking broke-ass sequels, you know, and it didn't work then. And for me, it was disappointing. It didn't work here. Just the focus in the wrong area only this time, whereas the focus it was in the wrong area according to Alex and Joe in the last one. What was that? Halloween Kills. At least I enjoyed it because it was just Michael killing every goddamn stupid idiot, you know, in the fucking town. And here he barely does any of that. And then you get to the final scene, and it's just kind of embarrassing that Jamie Lee Curtis is like, you know, she's older now, and she just beats up on Michael. Like, Michael's not even trying anymore. Give me some better explanation for her, you know, superhero-like powers. And she's a superhero in the film. She's disappearing in areas, reappearing in other areas. And I like the idea of that because I like Jamie Lee Curtis as an actress, and I actually like, you know, the final girl as a concept and getting revenge, but it just wasn't executed in the way that I was hoping for, and ultimately it was disappointing. And then the motherfucker, I mean, and then you can't even continue the storyline with this new Michael Myers because of the way they handle the ending. I won't spoil it, but anyways, so disappointing. Halloween Ends. Number
6. Yeah, I have a number 6.
Okay.
Mine is The Bubble. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but this has an all-star cast.
You just told me about this.
Pedro Pascal, Karen Gillian, David Duchovny, John Cena, James McAvoy. It has like a whole bunch of fucking people in it.
Never even heard of it.
This movie was so fucking boring.
What's it about?
They try to make a movie during the COVID, so
It's about people making a movie during COVID?
Yeah. They're just in a hotel. They're just waiting there for sets, and everyone. It's like their ex-wives. It's just so.
Are you talking about like meta, like behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's behind the scene kind of stuff, and it just.
Okay,
it just
what's the movie that they tried to make about?
It was fucking weird. I don't even remember. I don't even remember.
Okay,
but it was just so boring. Everyone just was there for a paycheck.
And it came out this year?
Yeah.
Or 2022?
Yeah. It was just so phoned in. It was
interesting.
I watched it, and I was like, never again.
Did it have Gal Gadot singing energy to comfort people or something during the pandemic? Just out-of-touch celebrity is kind of what I'm saying? Or no, it was just boring?
It was just boring.
Okay, well, stay away from The Bubble. But I'm kind of curious to at least watch a trailer because Joe still has no idea what it was about. Other than a few actors making shit during the... So it must have been filmed in 2020.
Yeah, it's Judd Apatow, because I saw it on come up on Netflix.
Judd Apatow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes it even more disappointing that it was just fucking boring.
Yeah.
Okay. That was your number 6. No, moving on to number 5.
Number 5.
My number 5 is Hocus Pocus 2. You forgot about it?
Did.
Put it in the list like I did. It was so. Come on, guys, y'all are the ones that got me.
It's on my
Hocus
list.
Pocus.
It's on my list.
Good.
I
Alex
totally
didn't fucking forget
because I love Hocus Pocus 1.
Terrible.
Where would you put it on your list? Think
I'll
about
get back
it.
to you on that.
Okay, so I got hyped up on Hocus Pocus from Alex and Joe, and I saw it, and it could have gone one or two ways, right? It went the bad way.
Yeah.
It went the cheap sets. You got annoying new little girl characters that are some of the worst actresses. The storyline is off the rails. Really, the only thing that I liked about it was the chemistry between the three witches, which I hear was, done 15 times better in the original. And plus, it actually had a good, funny story with some funny jokes and some fish out of water stuff and, characters that you care about. You like the side characters. You like the witches. And this one, Everybody's annoying, and the witches are doing the best that they can. The three lead actresses, but the magic was not there, and it was just one of these regurgitated Disney properties. We need more content for Disney Plus, which I hear they're losing quite a few subscribers recently. They better do something about that. And stuff like Hocus Pocus 2 is not helping with that. So I did not like Hocus Pocus 2, but I had no expectations for it, so that's why it's not higher, and I don't really care about it. And Joe even forgot about it.
I did.
So where would it go?
I would say I would move down the next one.
Okay, so let's get to the next one. Number 4.
Well, our number.
Oh, you got your number 5.
Yeah,
number 5.
my number 5 is Fantastic Beast and the Secret of Dumbledore.
Oh yeah, you're a Harry Potter fan, and you just put that on the worst list.
Because this is like, don't even touch Harry Potter. This is his own thing.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, maybe it's cool on its own thing, but no, it's so convoluted. It's so stupid. Nothing makes sense. I hated it.
You hated it.
I
hated it.
It was not good.
It's like, don't even like. You're a little wizard town. It's not Wizarding World.
No, it's Wizarding World versus Wizarding Town.
Yeah, it's fucking dumb.
Well, Joe, okay, I got you. I agree. I think, well, we'll get there. Alex.
Mine's Uncharted 4. Uncharted. This was awful. It was insanely miscast. And what's crazy about this movie is it was so easy for them to make because that Naughty Dog makes cinematic video games. You can't.
They're all movies.
It could have been a copy and paste job, like HBO's doing the Last of Us fucking TV show, and we could have had something amazing. And all you had to do was not cast a child and someone who doesn't look like Sully at all. Why the only reason that The Rock wasn't Nathan Drake is he was probably fucking busy. Like, it made no sense. I hated all of the characters. Even the goddamn puzzles in it, they're like, well, we're in like the sewers, and you can see from the streets of Rome where like the thing is. The sewer workers would have found all of the treasure. This movie is fucking stupid, and it was one of the worst things to come out this year.
You just look through the grate and you see an amazing underground world.
Yeah. So
all right,
terrible.
No, I agree. Okay, so now we are going to number 4, and this is where I blend my list between worst, boring, disappointing in some way or the other. And because this isn't necessarily that bad in comparison to some of these that we talked about. Like, I'd rather watch this than Crimes of the Future, which probably should be number 1 if I'm thinking about it. But
number 4.
It's Black Adam. I actually
How
put this
dare
on
you
my
as the
list.
DC?
Yep.
Ooh.
You watched it multiple times.
We're about to get downvoted here. Joe, I bought 8 tickets.
We told you not to.
I bought 4 tickets for us, and then I bought them again for a separate time or something, and then they didn't let me cancel them, and so then I had to. Yeah, so he got my money, and he did his best to bring Henry Cavill back, and that went nowhere. The hierarchy of the DC universe did not change. And it's not necessarily his fault. I think what they were going for could have worked. The Rock has charisma, the kind of fish out of water. What could have been all right, but it's not the story that's appropriate. The reason why it's on the list is because this is not the comic book Black Adam. This is The Rock in a Black Adam costume is what it is. And they got him, and they leaned heavily onto that in every way. He hangs out with a kid that skateboards, and it looks up to him, and this kid is annoying, and I'm like, why are we doing this? And we're softening him, and The Rock has no accent whatsoever. One of Black Adam's things is a thick accent. Yeah. He's dangerous. He's fucking evil at times.
But he's not a good guy.
But not evil. He has his code. But if you get on his bad side, you're going to think he's evil, right? But none of that comes through in The Rock. All I saw was The Rock. I didn't see Black Adam. They made some changes a little bit to the back history. That's fine. I don't really care about the comic origins and stuff. It's okay to mix that around. Now the fighting, the action was good. There's some good action in this. There's some hokey action where he's like flying and his big ass cabeza is like going Mach 50 or whatever. Looks a little weird, but you know, I'll excuse it. But the thing is, all of his side characters were so weak. Yes, I actually like Dr. Fate. I even fucking like Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, but I guess he was the only other good thing. But in Hawkman was all right. But like all of the other generic, this JSA, I didn't believe they were in this world already a bunch of times. They're just boring supporting characters. And then, of course, an awful CGI mess for a villain. Like just no effort whatsoever. It's just like the evil Satan guy. And, you know, and it didn't have a hard enough edge for me. And then it tied in like all the worst stuff. You got fucking Harcourt showing up for no reason. You know, James Gunn's wife. Now, she's still going to have a job moving forward into the new universe because nepotism is because she's James Gunn's wife. New wife, by the way.
You can't fire me.
You can't fire me. Now, I'm going to have to sleep on the couch.
Yep.
I'm not firing her. And then Amanda Waller and stuff like that. So, really, it was a huge cock tease there towards the end. Obviously, I got so excited. One of our notifications is me, you know, freaking out in a Superman outfit. We're gonna get a Man of Steel 2. I can't believe it. Thank you, Rock, so much. And it's not necessarily his fault. And honestly, I think if The Rock was allowed to continue what he wanted to do, I think we could have had an amazing Man of Steel 2. And it could have, and then James Gunn could have used this and then guided it along. Maybe the timing was bad. If James Gunn came in after that, then things could have been different. And it makes me mad. And yes, I'm taking out some of my anger on the film because of all of this bullshit, and it is now completely inconsequential. And I think The Rock is out as it, and it underperformed in the box office too. I think it's you know, kind of embarrassed The Rock a little bit. Where he didn't
Don't
make
let The
as
Rock
much
fool
money.
you.
He has his own production team and writing team, and he only works with them for the most part. And they wrote this movie, and so I know you said it's not his fault. In my opinion, it is kind of his fault because
That's right.
his team,
I forgot
the
about
Rampage, the Die Hard movie, like that team is the ones that he wanted to write this movie.
I didn't realize that. Then I'm glad it's where it's at on this list because you're right. You know, it's not true. It's somewhat true to the character, but it could have been truer. And I think that was an amazing opportunity to have a really great anti-hero film. And what we had was a hero film that, you know, uses the skin of the Black Adam costume. All right. Number 4.
Mine is Halloween Ends.
Mm-hmm.
This was just a terrible waste of time. I didn't want to watch it. Because I went there for Mike Myers in his closing chapter, but instead you give me somebody else, like Evil Doesn't Die. It just
Robbie.
gets
I don't know. I'm
it
just
gets
gonna call him
transferred
Robbie.
over. But like, if you're gonna do this, you can't do it at the end when you're like closing somebody's chapter.
Right.
It's something you do in the beginning, but whatever.
But Joe, you don't understand. Did you want to see an 80-year-old in a massive boss fight?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did. It was Jamie Lee Curtis in a massive boss
Exactly.
fight.
It's
She
like,
became
we
a
did.
superhero.
So they gave it to us anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most of the movie was wasted on Robbie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
I guess everyone has their take on that one, but that's not what the movie I wanted to go watch. And I already had low expectations, but it just lowered it for
I
me.
think what's interesting is I think that was a you know, an artistic choice from the beginning, and it could have worked, but it's not what I wanted to see at that moment. And I think it does kind of work on its own, but I still don't like it. I
It's
still
like
don't like
you
it.
can't be closing the chapter and be like, well, let's focus on this person. It's like, who is this? It's too late to introduce somebody right now.
Yeah. My number 4 is Hocus Pocus 3. I loved Hocus Pocus 1.
Hocus
I think
Pocus 2.
Yeah.
Please
Hocus Pocus
don't
2.
please don't let there be a
They're
third.
probably going to do. I mean, they focused on the wrong characters. Everything that made the first one special, they completely ignored because they wanted Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker to be out in front, and they became the main character. And it just didn't work. Everything about it was bad. The acting, the story, and it just felt like a cheap Disney cash grab, like Pinocchio, like all their other live action shit. And so it's when you make something that people once loved, and you make a sequel or you recreate it with no love, it shows. And there was no love in this project, so.
I think it reminds me of those days that Disney had all those direct-to-video.
Little Mermaid
Yes.
7 or whatever, yeah.
That-
Lion King.
This was a
4.
nostalgic throwback to those low-effort shit, and they made money off those, and people still have those, and this, oh yeah, well, it's not that bad. That's the attitude that they had with
Yeah.
this. So,
Yep.
all right, moving on. Number 3.
Number 3.
My number 3 was Jurassic World Dominion. Just this, confused fucking mess of a movie where we have, I don't know, international spy rings and fucking dinosaur fighting.
And locusts.
And locusts. What were we doing here? I'm going for like the dinosaurs on Human Action, and they're like, yeah, there's dinosaurs living on skyscrapers now, and everybody's fine with it, and okay. And now we're just gonna move on to a completely different thing. This thing I wrote on a napkin when I was at lunch once: locusts. Wait, what? What do we do? Okay, so then we do this big old locust storyline of this food competitor that I don't know breeds these locusts to. Do you see what I'm saying? Why am I talking about this shit when I'm talking about dinosaurs in Jurassic World? Just the plot was ridiculous. It just ran out of fucking steam. Even though they bring back the old crew, that's the one thing that I like is okay. We brought back the old crew, but we kind of waste them. They're mostly separated the whole movie, and they finally come together. It's too late by then, and then it just kind of ends on a fucking whimper. And this movie made buku money. We're talking, it's $1 billion. $1 billion. And $1.4 billion, something like that. On a budget of $185. So, did not like Jurassic Dominion. It ended with a fart and a whimper, and that is it. At the very least, it's done. We're not going to get any more of that. And honestly, it's so bad I can't even remember some of the parts that were kind of shitty. So
makes sense. My number 3 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You already talked about that one. The only good part in this movie was the bus scene. Everything else was fucking terrible. Terrible acting, terrible sets, terrible. You name it.
Terrible
Sound,
ending
terrible.
To set up another one. Just terrible.
The
old lady shows up with a shotgun, and you're like, all right, she's going to kill him because I think this is the final girl that got away one time.
Yeah.
And then she fucks it up, and it's like, well, what's
It's
the
like,
fucking point? Why was this happening?
Time. You wasted my time.
You wasted my time. You wasted the kids' time. You wasted everybody's time.
You're
Go
fucking
home.
pointless. Get out of here. I'm glad you did.
Yo.
Stupid waste of fucking time.
My number 3 is Halloween Ends. This was a passing of the torch opportunity for them where a teenage boy beats up Michael Myers, like in a fist fight. In a sewer, a teenage boy with no powers whatsoever beats his ass. And like they break all their own rules. They're trying something new. Like I think that you get points for creativity if it works. And in my opinion, none of the creativity actually paid off. So I give it cool, you tried something new, but you stamped Halloween across the top of the screen, which leads me to believe one thing, right? It's going to be a Michael Myers slasher movie. It fucking wasn't. And so you fucking false advertised me into the screen, and then it wasn't very good. Like, there wasn't even that many good kills. So this was super disappointing, and I am glad they are no longer making more.
Yeah, it made a turn in that fucking seedy underground, sewer system. If he went into that sewer system and he beat Michael Myers' ass, and they filmed it in a way to where he just goes, like, he's just nonstop going, and then just something starts to happen, right? And I don't know how they would do it, but, like, they made it more obvious that he's like fucking absorbing, and he's becoming Michael.
Yeah.
And Michael's just feeding off of his power, and Michael's like letting go on purpose to then become this guy, and then we can have, and then pitting his daughter against pitting the grandma against, because she's. Yeah, no, her mother died. Yeah, so she's the granddaughter. Pitting them against each other and just like fucking a new sinister element to it would have been great. And and then continued on. And you can pass the torch, and we're gonna they ended, and they take like all the worst possible choices. They went with the B path when the A path was right there.
And he magically gets his powers back at the end of the movie for no reason, and then he gets beat up by the woman who has diarrhea yogurt commercials.
It helps your stomach.
Yeah.
Helps your stomach, Alex. All right, moving on. Number 2. My number 2 was Fantastic Beasts, Joe. If we started with fucking Fantastic Beasts, I would never have been a Harry Potter fan in the fucking first
I'm
place.
so glad we didn't.
I'm so glad. And what's more colossal of a disaster is this is motherfucking J.K. Rowling herself. So yeah, we have nobody to blame but her. Pure fucking hubris. She couldn't recreate her own success, and she's like, I'm gonna write these things. I am now a fucking screenwriter, and she fucked it up because the story's fucking
I can't
boring.
They have nothing to do with the beasts.
It's so stupid. It's no beasts, and I just wanted it to end, and thankfully they were planning on doing. I remember her announcement. We're gonna do 5, and then the whole crowd was like, they're all Harry Potter fans, and they're waving their Harry Potter gear, and she didn't even get to 5. This fucking franchise, this multi-billion-dollar franchise, couldn't get to 5. It's one of the biggest colossal disasters. It made less and less money, and that first Fantastic Beasts film did good. It almost reached $1 billion. No, I'm talking at the box office, and to me, it was an all right film, right? And then the next one even lower, and then this one even lower. So this thing made. Oh, you're totaling all 3 films. That's not fair. So I can't see the individual numbers for it, but it was not good. Here we go. Secrets of Dumbledore, $95 million in U.S. and Canada. Like, that shit is really bad. Worldwide, it made $322 million. Guess what the budget was?
I was gonna say the budget
$200+ million.
That's not including the advertising.
And that's not including the advertisement budget, exactly. Yeah. So it was a bomb. And, and what did they do? There was also stuff. They fired Johnny Depp because they did, WB's like, no, we can't have him be a part of this franchise, and do their due diligence with none of that. And just a colossal disaster. Best costume design, it won. Oh, that's the first film. Got nominated and won in the first film for best costume design. But it actually made the Wizarding World. It actually kind of tarnished the Wizarding World for me. I was like, this world kind of sucks.
It's like it's
kind of
like
boring. Right? Yeah. I want to go to school, and I've never wanted to actually go to school because the adults are all fucking idiots. One moment they're like, murder, and then these are supposed to be like intelligent wizards. Didn't they fucking graduate from various wizarding schools?
Yes.
I know a vast majority of the wizards in the Wizarding World are actually homeschooled. They don't actually go to these institutions because there's only 11 institutions in their universe, so it's kind of hard to put everybody in the 11 schools. But look at that, Joe. Anyway, it's just a shell of its former self with characters I couldn't care less about. A main character that's kind of ignored in his own movie.
Yes.
He's not the main character.
If you wanted it to be about Dumbledore the whole fucking time, then you could have went hard on that. That probably would have been a better series, right, with Jude Law. But no, they fucked it up. So number 2, that was
my number 2 is Jurassic World Dominion. They really fucked it up. Like you said, they brought back everyone. I thought it could have been cool seeing like dinosaurs in the real world. We get a glimpse of that in the intro, but then they completely ignored throughout the film. It's like, no, we'll go back to the island. I was like, what? I wanted to see the dinosaurs in the real world and see the chaos and
that's what we were
what
waiting.
could have happened.
They built up for years. We were like, all right, that last film was terrible.
It's like, yeah,
but at least the one thing we can take from it is they set up dinosaurs in the real world.
Yeah, it's like, okay, now you're going to bring the team back together in the world. It's like, no, let's just bring everyone to the island. I was like, you wasted it. You wasted the badass potential you could have had. But super downfall on that one. And I love Jurassic Park and even the second one. And after the third one.
I thought some Fantastic Beasts would be higher for you, Joe, because that is a combination of both worst and boring and disappointing. They literally, okay.
My number 2 is Morbius. I think that this is a garbage fire And Sony has no idea what they're doing because they have the guy who ruined the Sam Raimi Spider-Man is Ari something. He's the one who's like, you have to combine all your movies together because I need to make a bunch of money. He's been in charge of all this shit, and he's like, they all need to be they need to be PG-13 so we can make the most amount of money. It's like, well, you're doing all these anti-hero type characters. Are we going to have them be violent? And they're like, no, we'll replace the violence with awkward comedy.
Yeah,
and you're gonna do what? And it just nothing worked. It was so awkward. The movie turned into a giant meme. That's how bad this thing was. Yeah. The I Have Sex song.
Yes, put my best up, put my 10 to 10, or put my spend to spend. Have sex,
have sex.
Morbid time.
It violating its own lore that it sets up with like who can control bats and do dumb shit. Like this movie was really, really bad.
Okay, my number one.
Number 1.
Is wanna have sex.
have sex, excel. Put my hands against, put my best up, put my 10 to 10.
Morbid time.
That's my number
Oh,
one.
y'all like more? Y'all, it's funny now. It's popular on the internet. Well, let's re-release it. It's Morbid time, guys. Nobody goes out to see it. Motherfucking Sony was tricked by the internet to re-release this piece of shit, and nobody saw it on the second time. You realize how fucking funny that It shows you how out of touch these fucking suits were. That number one, oh man, we got the Spider-Man license. We're gonna have these side characters. All we need to do is hire well-known actors, and who cares about writers and staying true to character and tying it to Spider-Man? We don't need none of that shit. Get Jared Leto. He's popular, and it was just hilarious. Won't have sex. I just can't get that dancing out of my head.
My spend to spend, have sex, excel.
Morbid time. It was, it may not necessarily be as bad as, I don't know, Crimes of the Future with that A24, going off in that wild direction, but it was just so painfully boring, below mid, and just a product in the worst sense, just pushed out. And then it even tried to tie things together there towards the end. That's not fucking happening. Like, he just and it goes against the characters. Like, what is it? The Vulture shows up. It's like Michael Keaton, right, as the Vulture. Yep. He's like, oh, my friend, or I gotta find this guy named Spider-Man, and Morbius is like, interesting. It's like, that goes up with it. He wouldn't give a fucking shit about any of this. Like, what are you doing? Just stop it. Stop it.
Well, we're getting Madam Web and Kraven, and they've got a bunch more coming, so I can't wait for them to ruin more comic characters that people care about.
We're going to have a completely different team than the Morbius team. That was my number one. Joe, what's your number one?
My number one is Morbid time.
Morbid time. All right.
Time.
So we are.
It's
Ding,
terrible.
ding, ding. We all got. Alex. Alex was number two.
Morbid was number two. The dumbest movie I saw this year was Jurassic Park. The Jurassic Park sequel trilogy is as bad as the Star Wars sequel trilogy. The first one kind of riffs off the first one. It kind of makes sense, and most people like. The second one is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Nice.
And the third is also really, really fucking bad.
Just goes off the rails.
Off the rails, but it doesn't matter because we'll bring back the original people. Hey, member, you like this guy, right? Hey, member, it is fucking stupid. And it's not only is this movie fucking stupid and really bad, but it lowers my opinion of people in the United States because they watched this movie like over $1 billion. Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean anything because like McDonald's sells more hamburgers than anyone else, and we know the quality of that shit. So it's like, this movie is fucking stupid. The last movie was dumber, but not by much. Like, it was a really bad movie.
Yeah, it's funny that on Wiki they have to combine all three films to hide their numbers. Yeah, because the Fantastic Beasts made $1.8 billion. Yeah, that's if you combine all three, you asshole. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Jurassic World Dominion. Those are our top 10 worst / boring / disappointing movies of 2022, because we literally could not subject ourselves to 10 real bad movies in a row trying to do the list. Hell no. But these are the worst that we experienced over the year. What are the worst that you experienced over the year? Be it disappointing, be it painfully boring, stuff like that. Leave it in the comments down below because we're all morbidly curious.
Morbidly curious.
Morbiously curious about it. And I don't advise anybody to waste money on these films, but they are that kind of really bad, torturous, like, let's talk about it and therapeutically talk about how we wasted our money.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anyways, that's it for this one. Thank you all guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.